Hi, and welcome to the BlueMilk podcast, where we talk about anything and everything Star Wars related. I'm BJ.
I'm Jacob.
I'm drinking.
And yeah, so how's it going? How are you this evening? I mean, we still rarely ever, get the chance to actually talk.
Yeah, usually we're looking at the monitor.
Well, usually we're not here face to face, just connecting. We don't have that human connection. You've lost that love and feeling. But anyway. So what topics do we have today?
I don't know. What sounds good, Jacob?
Actually, Dirk.
Me? Why?
Yeah,
you want to start with that one?
Yeah, we'll start with you.
Okay. And we're done.
Classy!
Alright, so I've talked about balance before. With the whole balance thing, I was kind of curious what you guys thought if the Jedi and the Sith actually finally came together and started a school for Force users. What you think might come of that?
That taught like a balance?
Well, you have Sith teachers, you have Jedi teachers, and they both teach the students without killing each other.
I mean, that's questionable.
How would the students?
Sith teaching's kind of.
How would the students
like if you
turn out?
If you go by traditional Sith teaching,
if you, I guess there would have to be one rule: you cannot teach based on the credos.
Well, I mean, then what? Then you're not technically teaching the Sith
using the Force.
So you're mainly
you're actually just teaching Force users. You have Jedi on one side and Sith on the other, but they're not allowed to use the credo to teach. They're only allowed to use.
So they're not teaching their particular religion. The Force. They're just teaching techniques on how to utilize certain Force abilities
from their points of view.
So, like light side, light side's predominantly, stronger with healing, like healing others, stuff like that. Whereas the dark side is more about like more offensive, like the Force lightning, Force choke. Like these are all things that are generally affiliated with the dark side. And they
although Bane did use a lot of dark side Force to heal himself.
Dark side energy, its healing is you drain life from around you to heal you. Light side is you use the Force channel through you to heal everything around you.
Right.
So, I mean, they're...
So the question is, how do you think the students would turn out?
I mean, if they're not teaching credos, it would effectively just be...
Hogwarts School of Light Side and Dark Side.
Well, it'd just
Force
be
powers.
It would be Hogwarts School of Magic.
Yeah.
They wouldn't dictate like you can't use this, you can't use this. It would just be.
But Hogwarts
like
does
this.
do that.
This is how you. Yeah, kind of does.
Yeah.
It would just it would effectively be a school where you just go there and you don't learn.
You go to school and you don't learn.
Well, you don't
like the Arizona Public Educational System.
Yeah, seriously. I won't argue with that. No, it's you learn how to use Force abilities. So, like, they'll be really good on how to Force choke or Force lightning, or because there's one thing that's always touched upon is certain people are better at certain aspects of the Force than others. Like, that's always kind of like... I mean, not in any of the movies. Like, none of the movies kind of highlight that.
No, Vader's pretty good at the whole choking people thing.
He's
yeah,
a
but I
choker.
mean, like, anyone can really do that. Like, you don't really see him ever catch... You don't ever see him throw lightning, but that's primarily because his hands are cybernetics. Like, he would cook his hands by doing it.
Yeah.
Or fry the electronics.
Yeah, he would harm himself as much as he's harming the person he's shooting.
Right.
He's actually used in Legends. There's a story that he's chasing Leia and Luke in a cave and uses Force lightning. He almost kills himself. Yeah.
Nice.
But he also almost kills them, too. So
kind of like a win-win.
yeah, it was before, I want to say it was before Empire Strikes Back.
But that's not Disney canon.
No.
course
It
not.
was the much better canon.
Yeah, legacy canon.
Now we have Disney canon and the much better canon. I like that.
Yes, exactly.
That's exactly how it is.
Nice.
But I imagine at this school, they would easily identify. It would be very effective at easily identifying what each student has a better aptitude at doing. So, like, the ones that are really good at using force healing would be identified very easily and be, put in that category. The ones that are, better qualified for, like, force lightning or force choke or, like, the physical aspects where, like, they augment their strength or their agility, how they're able to fucking hop up walls and shit like that. Because that's shown, like, with Obi-Wan and Anakin in
Force
episode 2.
parkour.
Yeah, force parkour. Like, that, there are some that are actually better at doing that. And then there's also, I believe in Legacy Canon books, they talk about how there are certain Jedi that are really good at only being able to do, like, force illusions. It's essentially like in the book, the guy, like, all the Jedi are pretty much lined up at the school, and they're forced to, like, use the force to lift up a boulder. And, like, each one after each one, they lift it, they move it, they budge it. Some of them are better, so they lift it higher, whatnot. But there's this one guy who's not good at, he, like, can't do it at all. He has no capabilities in, like, the telekinesis aspect of it. But when he goes to do it, he, like, channels the force and does something. And what he actually does is all the students are, like, amazed because he essentially, like, from their perception, he lifts the boulder, like, way up here, like, higher than everyone else. He's just, like, rocking it.
But he doesn't actually move it.
It's all an illusion.
Right.
He's just
That's a very Sith aspect of a Jedi right there, to be honest.
I mean, it could be, but I mean, that was, like, what he was really good at doing. Like, he couldn't move physically. Like, he couldn't even pull a lightsaber to him. Like, he just wasn't good at the force telekinesis aspect. But he could, like, make everyone believe whatever he wanted them to believe with illusions. And so, I mean, at this school, they would very easily be able to identify that, but if they're not teaching, like, an underlying moral code to it, then, I mean...
Okay. So let's add something to it.
Ooh.
What you just described would be freshman year.
Oh, it's just identifying all of that?
Oh,
Okay.
shit. So...
Where you bring them all in, and you expose them to all these different types of teaching.
Well, different techniques, I mean, because that's all we're talking
And
about.
then
right
they find, okay, you're better this way, so the next year they go in this direction, and then... So after you end up graduating, you're a much stronger Force user with a specific concentration.
Yeah, but...
They actually, well, not they actually, this reminds me of a Disney Channel movie called Sky High.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where-
yeah.
It kind of
Sidekick.
sidekick or your hero. That part reminds me of them. Like, that makes perfect sense. Why not do that?
That was a good
but
movie.
there are
Good
some
movie.
there are some people who are, like, really good at technology, but or, like, well, just in
Slicing?
aspects, like slicing or something like that. Not in Star Wars. I mean, there's some people that are good at some things, but they don't like doing that thing.
Like, Jacob is an excellent speaker. He's just not good at the language.
I don't think I'm an excellent speaker at all. No.
The school essentially would just identify what they're good at, because the fact that they're hitting the gamut of light side, dark side, like, teaching, like they're getting that whole gamut. So instead of it just being like, the Jedi are here, and you're only getting the light side effective teaching, so you're not learning how to properly use Force Lightning. You're not learning how to properly use Force Choke, or you're not properly learning how to use, like, Force Drain.
You're using Force Speed, but you trip a lot.
Well, I mean, that's just physical education. I mean, they cover that in both Jedi and everything anyway. So, I mean...
The Sith don't. It's the strong will survive, and that's it.
Well, I mean, they definitely get that whole aspect of teaching as well in there.
Do or do not. There's no try. That's the Sith way, to be honest, and that is also an absolute. Therefore, Yoda's a Sith.
I've brought that up before.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know. So, everyone's a Sith. We're all Sith.
But yeah, so I mean, like the fact that there's no like underlying moral code to anything that they're learning, I guess you could just leave it up to them as to which direction they feel the most comfortable going. Because I mean, people will automatically, like, there's already people. If you're essentially leaving it up to like the individual student to determine where they want to go, where they want to fall in the whole thing,
you're not leaving it up to the student. It's the teachers are still guiding.
So
but
the
they're
Jedi
following the strengths of the student.
So the Jedi teachers would in turn be trying to manipulate the students to be more like Jedi?
Yes.
And the Sith would be trying to manipulate the students to be more like Sith?
Yes. But in the end, they would have to agree on, okay, this particular one showed a lot of promise for this side, but leans this way, so we gotta kind of...
It would also allow for more gray Jedi or gray Force users to exist.
So the question is, would the students come out stronger? Or be the same, just with a more varied knowledge of the Force?
I think it would be definitely more knowledge, because you have that different aspects and all that stuff when it comes to that. I don't know, some might be stronger because they can use that knowledge, and some might not be able to use that knowledge though. And so they just stick with the things that they know they are really, really good at. So instead of having very round people, you're just going to have people that are just going to be very specific on one good thing, because that's like, I know how to do this. This is all I'm going to do. Same thing goes with like the well-rounded people. They're like, well, I know what I can do. That type of thing. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
I hope so.
Kind of.
I think I started rambling a little bit at the end, to be honest.
It allows for more specialization. But I feel like it would also allow for more, like, jack of all trades. So it would allow someone who might not be strong in one particular aspect of the Force to learn more than just the light side. Like, they could learn they could learn these other aspects. Because, see, normally if you look at, like, a Jedi, they don't know how to do Force Lightning. They don't know how to do any of that. And when it happens, they don't know how to properly use it. Like, they overuse it because their emotions are taking over, and that's generally what leads them to fall to the dark side, and all sorts of bad stuff can happen. Because
they're not allowed to experience emotion.
Well,
they're not supposed to.
Exactly. They're not allowed. They're supposed to be robots. They're supposed to, like, this is how you are. These are the rules. Like, you don't get to be this way. And, like, the Sith teach the opposite. So, I mean, in a place like that, with, like, them not specifically teaching the credos, it would kind of allow for someone to just be like, okay, well, I don't mind using Force Lightning, but I don't want to use it to kill people.
Well, how about those who, I can kill you, but I can heal you so I can kill you again.
Well, that's...
And again,
I mean, that's
and
still
again.
dark side. I mean, technically, like, if you want to bring it up, Darth Plagueis, he had the capability to heal people. He knew how to do it. He knew how to use the Force to heal people, so he could do what you're talking about. The question is I'm sure in Legacy Canon, because I believe that's the only place you can actually read anything about Darth Plagueis, outside of the mentioning that they have in episode 3? Yeah.
At least his existence is canon now.
Well, his existence is canon because he is talked about in episode 3, so I mean there is that. But like they don't really go over how he learned that, like how he learned to heal as good as he did.
He was from the Jedi Sith school of, oh my god.
I don't think so, first and foremost, because I mean that never existed in any canon. I mean the closest aspect would be like way back in the day with the Jedi. That would be like the
Before
closest.
they knew
Well, before they
any
split.
difference.
Yeah.
Before the dark times.
Yeah.
before the Empire. Before Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that too. That too.
I mean, technically all of Star Wars probably takes place before Jesus Christ.
Well, it was a long time ago.
in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not? But I think it would allow for a more well-rounded individual, ultimately. I think your school would allow for that. Simply because, I mean, knowledge is power, so I think the more someone knows how to utilize those powers, like, even if they do start dabbling in dark side, like, if they are gray, they know how to make it to where they don't go completely dark, as well as, like, they don't go completely light side. It allows for, like I said, more gray Force users, because they would know how to use them. Because, I mean, like, the prime example is, like, when Kylo Ren lashes out. Like, he's doing that out of a state of pure emotion. Like, I don't think he was properly... I don't think... Well, at that point, he's not even a Sith. And, I mean...
He's a 2-year-old.
Yeah, definitely. Because that was, what, episode 7?
Episode 7, when he does that.
The temper tantrum thing.
Yeah. And, I mean, I don't think Snoke actually trained him in any kind of Sith manner.
No, he was that creepy uncle.
Yeah.
Well, I think he did. I just don't think he was trained in to be able to use his emotions properly. That's what I think. He just lets his emotions go wild, whereas Sith can use their emotions to focus their emotions.
Yeah.
Where Kylo's just like, ah! Ah!
He just gets super angry and then lashes out.
Yeah.
I hate you. He never said that was his grandfather.
I mean,
It wouldn't surprise me.
you start seeing that kind of in episode 8.
Where
He starts focusing his anger. Kind of.
Kind of.
Yes, he's trained.
Yeah. I mean, that is technically the dark side way.
Yeah.
They use their emotions to fuel their powers. At least that's the Sith teaching. I mean, technically, you don't even really have to do it that way. Because I think there's some examples in Legacy canon where they didn't actually use their emotions to fuel the dark side. They were sociopaths, effectively. Like, they didn't feel emotions the way we, like people, regular people feel emotions. They didn't experience emotions that way, so they were sociopaths? I'm trying to remember what the clinical term
It's
is
a
for an individual.
fine line between the two.
Yeah.
Psychopaths and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, like, one of them experiences emotions but doesn't care. Like, effectively, like, knows the emotions and knows how they work and everything like that, but just is like, I don't care. And then the other one is, they literally do not feel emotions. Like, they know how to mimic them. It's like, Dexter. From, the TV show Dexter. Like, he doesn't feel emotions. He knows how to mimic them to fit in with society. So, like, when someone says a joke, he knows, oh, I should laugh. But, like, he doesn't experience humor. Like, he doesn't feel humor. Like, you have to understand. Yeah.
You fondling the table?
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in order to hate something or dislike something, that's still an emotion. Like, sociopaths are... I think it's sociopaths. They don't actually hate. Like, when they kill someone, they don't hate them. They're doing it because they feel the urge, the desire. Which isn't really an emotion, it's kind of like eating or breathing to them.
Okay.
And there are examples of dark side users in Star Wars that are like that. So they don't really use emotions to fuel their power. So yet again, it comes down to, like, George Lucas effectively trying to make, like, light side, dark side arguments a moral thing. Like, which is why certain powers are classified as dark side and certain powers are classified as light side. Instead of just being force powers.
Even though Anakin did use Force choke while he was a Jedi.
Okay.
Oh yeah, during the Clone Wars.
Huh.
Did that multiple times actually. It's a great time.
Well, mind trick is a dark side thing. We've talked about that.
Mind trick, I mean, honestly, it all varies with mind trick. Because literally, it's all based on intent.
You are persuading someone to do something that they wouldn't normally do. Therefore, you're using the Force according to your will.
You're imposing your will on someone else.
In order to get something done, which is a dark side trait.
True.
Hashtag open one is a Sith.
Well, I mean, does
So is
Yoda
Yoda.
ever use Force?
What?
Yoda? Does he ever use mind trick?
No, he just slaps them across the wall.
He does it through words. He convinced Luke to do shit just by being Yoda.
No, he just uses the Force to slam him against walls. He doesn't need to use the will. He just get the fuck out of here.
What about Mace Windu? I don't think he ever uses mind trick.
There's a Clone Wars episode where Mace, Obi-Wan, and Anakin are using the Force to interrogate a person.
Force fingers?
No, they're interrogating using Force mind trick.
Oh.
Yeah. I can't remember who they're using against, and not season 3, it's season 2 or 4.
Season not 3.
So 2 or 4.
2 or 4.
But there's an episode where...
There is an episode where Mace Windu does use Force mind trick.
Just mind trick, dude.
Mind trick.
Yeah.
Force mind trick. Force!
So yeah, mind trick, I won't argue, mind trick definitely has a dark side. If you want to look at it in that perspective, yes, it does definitely have a dark side undertone to it.
So would this school tend to end up with more darker students because of the higher knowledge?
No.
Well, it's questionable, see, because honestly, I feel like I don't know what the percentage of light side, dark side, and gray would be. Simply because if this school existed, it would be leaving it up to the person. So then it would be society that dictates how many light, how many dark, and how many gray.
Yeah.
Because,
And their perception of it.
yeah.
So the actual dark and light would shrink, and you'd have this gray area that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And
The United States political system.
none of that's gray, fucker.
No, there's
It's getting
gray.
more and more divided.
It's getting
There
gray.
is no gray.
There is a gray.
Well, it used to be.
There's a lot of gray, actually.
Not enough.
A lot of people are gray.
No.
A lot of people they don't pick political.
Bullshit.
Oh, no, we're not-
People love to pick things.
Political parties is one thing. I'm specifically talking about, like, morally gray. Like, I am morally gray. I would say DIRK is probably morally gray as well.
Or immorally gray.
More.
It's all perspective.
Yes.
It's all from a certain point of view.
It's
Yeah.
kind of gray. It's
You
a gray
would probably
area.
be more towards the lighter side, but I could definitely.
I'm working on that.
He's
Yeah.
definitely a lot more gray than he
I'm
used
not
to be.
light. I'm not like pure light.
We know you're heavy, man.
Thanks.
You're heavy.
Is that what Marty McFly was referencing?
Yeah,
Dude, that's heavy. They're talking about me.
I mean, effectively, like a person, it would be left up to the person instead of like being picked up as a child. Because like that's
Oh, I
that's
would
how
love to.
bullshit-
I would love to see that.
Well, that's
So,
how-
what do you think you are? You're graduating now. What do you think you are? I don't know.
I mean, it would be more like. I feel like it would be more like university or something like that.
That's
where you
kinda
find,
what
like, your
I'm-
major.
It's kind of what I'm getting at.
You pick like your major minor kind of situation. I feel.
I
it's
major in force choke, but minor in force lightning.
No, I major in dark side and minor in light side. kind of dabble in what would be what would be like linear algebra for this.
Year 1 algebra? What would year 1 algebra be for them? Picking rocks up.
There you go. Yeah.
Because, I mean, it shows the steps of teaching in several instances in both, like, the prequels, as well as, like, in a lot of the video games.
Yeah.
And it even talks about, like, this, like, learning steps in books, in several legacy books. It talks about, like, what students are expected to learn at the very beginning just to learn how to use the Force. And a lot of it is telekinesis based.
Yeah. Well, the Old Republic, there's a section in there, I can't remember where you go, but it's on the Sith side, I believe, and you have to go through and lift this stone and...
Oh no, there's a Jedi side that does
Is
that.
it?
Yeah, this is a Jedi side.
It's been a while.
I know what you're talking about in the Old Republic.
Yeah.
I mean, you could also look at Knights of the Old Republic. In the first Knights of the Old Republic, you actually don't start as a Jedi. In that, you actually progress. I mean, once you get past the first planet, then you go to a Jedi Enclave, and then that's when they teach you. And it's during that they do like a montage where it shows you like your character actually like going through the steps of learning how to utilize the Force. And it's like, you know, at first you can barely pick up like little wooden blocks and stuff like that, but by the end of the montage you're like making
You're smacking yourself in the head with these blocks.
Everything's floating around you, you're making yourself levitate and all that stuff. I mean, to be fair, there's people that are... I think Mace Windu is the prime example of this, but there are people that are weaker with the Force and stronger with just, like, the lightsaber training. Like, they're able to use the Force to just do lightsaber training a little, to utilize a lightsaber more effectively.
Yeah.
So, but then, like, you'd also... Like, your question would also lead into other traditions of Force users as well. Because there are other Force traditions as well that specialize, like the guy that I was talking about that's really good with Force illusion but can't do the telekinesis aspect.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hereditary aspect to that whole family line. Like, him, his father, his grandfather... They were all like that. They suck. That bloodline sucks.
It's really turning into Sky High then.
How do we know he actually existed? It could all just been an illusion.
He actually
all
existed.
A dream. It was all a dream.
Oh, don't do that. No.
But then there's also like other Force traditions that don't use lightsabers with the Force. They use like chakras.
Like Xena?
Yeah. Yeah, they use the Force to like control the chakras
that's
going through
cool.
the air. They can. What's really cool is if they get really good, they can control multiple of them and have them just spinning around themselves.
And then they go to circuses and travel the country?
They could, I guess.
I mean, there's also the point where some people are also really good at animals. With the Force.
Yeah.
You could juggle animals, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
like Ezra.
Animal taming.
Yeah, Ezra's really good at being able to handle animals, like the space whales. He calls upon the space whales to battle Thrawn. Because...
That sounds so dumb.
It really does.
No, and
the
space whales, they can go into warp speed. Hyperspace.
This is sounding dumber all the time.
Yeah, now you know why I'm like, I didn't watch Rebels.
They have the Force, man.
Space whales! Warp speed!
There's space whales that can travel at hyperspeed.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's some bad gas.
They actually do eat gas.
Yeah.
They're literally
gas. Yeah. There was an episode of Clone Wars, actually, when they're traveling through a space... what is that? Nebula?
You mean like just clouds in space?
Yeah, clouds.
Nebula.
Nebula. They're traveling through a nebula, and there's a pod of space whales that are like it's huge. Like they're just spinning around this entire nebula, and they're like trying not to hit the whales or anything. And there's like Y-wings are like exploding on the whales. The whales are like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's a great episode.
And that's why I don't watch Clone Wars either.
Oh my goodness.
Just not into space whales. Sorry.
Hey, man. Some people are into space whales, some people are into space slugs, so.
You know, we don't know how many space slugs are actually out there. We only ever see the one.
2 if you count Robot Chicken.
Don't count Robot Chicken, because that is a spoof. Just like we wouldn't count Spaceballs for anything involving Star Wars either. I mean, if we did, then, like, Alien exists in the Star Wars universe, then.
Yeah.
Well, we already have decided that anything can fit in the Star Wars universe.
Well, storyline-wise, yeah. I mean, yeah, you could put anything in there.
The Xenomorphs.
Yeah. But I mean, like...
cool, to be honest, in the Star Wars universe.
Spaceballs has... Like, Spaceballs had the Xenomorph in it.
Yeah.
So if we're counting Spaceballs as part of Star Wars, then, yeah, the Xenomorph is absolutely
there actually has been pictures, not like canon pictures, anything, but it's Darth Vader versus like a whole group of Xenomorphs.
Yeah.
And such. Those are really cool. Yeah, it's such.
Nice.
Yeah.
But, yeah, since we got to that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, I mean, that's you would easily find the Force traditions, I guess.
All right. Final comments on the question.
Oh.
Stronger students or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
All right. To go into that topic a little bit more, but also on a sideway. So you know how high schools and colleges...
Suck.
Yes.
Okay.
They have their cliques.
Junior high and high school has cliques more than college.
So you know how they have their cliques and such?
Yeah.
What do you think each clique in that force-using school, what do you think that clique would be like their specialty?
So the preps, the jocks,
wow.
The goths,
nerds,
drama geeks, band kids.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Like, what, oh god. Wasn't there like the drama queen and her little clique as well? Like, isn't that a thing?
That's the preps.
Well, she was part of the preps, but like she was a sub clique, I guess, of that because she pretty much ran like all the chicks. Like there's the queen that was always like the prom queen or whatever.
Yeah. I think that would be pretty much like preps.
Yeah, I guess she'd be part of the preps. Yeah, sure.
Drama club would be those helicopter Sith people.
Jesus, why?
They like being dramatic.
So the Sith would be like emo and like
definitely
emo as well as like.
But they wouldn't be actual Sith.
I feel like
not until they graduate.
I feel like band camp would be Sith.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that'd be more of a...
I think it'd be a middle ground.
It'd
be a middle ground.
More gray.
Oh, drama would definitely be Sith.
Oh, yeah.
Drama would be Sith hardcore. Unless it would be hilarious to see a Jedi in drama.
Playing the dark side?
Because he's learning how to feel emotions.
Yeah, I could see that.
Math club would totally be... Like, the nerds would totally be Sith.
No.
Nerds
would be Jedis.
Nerds would be Sith because they're being picked on by the
light side, not Jedis, because...
Yeah, there's no Jedi or Sith, so it'd be dark side or...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They would lean more light
side. Definitely be dark side.
I think they'd be light side because they were like hall monitors.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, the dark side... The Sith, anyway, crave that knowledge from previous teachers.
True.
So, book-wise, I could see the Darksiders being a little more
Would everyone
nerdy.
be just a Darksider?
I don't think so. Because not everybody leans towards their darker side.
I feel like we're slightly biased
Well,
in our opinions.
maybe a hair.
So I mean, I'm sure there would be a fair amount of Darksiders, but I'm sure there would be a fair amount of Lightsiders as well.
True, yeah.
I'm sure there'd be a lot of gray people in there too that are literally just like, I don't really give a shit about it.
I can do all this stuff. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, like I'll force lightning you, and I'll choke you, and then I'll heal you,
and then I'll make you think that it was your own fault.
I guess. I mean, no, that like
you'll tell me to move along.
No, because that's still dark side.
Thank you, sir. Can I have another?
Yeah, that's still dark side. No, it's all about personal accountability. Because if you notice, like a lot of the Sith that are part of the dark side, they generally lay the blame of what they're doing on other people. Like, you made me do this. That's why I'm killing all these people. Is you made me do this.
Yeah.
Like, they don't take the personal accountability. So I imagine, like, someone who's in gray wouldn't have a problem doing, like, dark side stuff. They would just take up responsibility. Like, I'm killing this person because
I did that.
They deserved it. And I'm doing it because I want to. Not because you made me, not because, some grand cosmic scheme is against me or some shit like that. It would literally be, I'm killing you because you deserve it. You're an asshole and you treated me like shit. Which is why I think a lot of people would probably be like,
you have to add on
dark side.
From a certain point of view.
Yeah, from a certain point of view.
Because otherwise it's not great.
Now it's okay.
Yeah.
And now it's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today on the BlueMilk podcast, where we talked about society and how it can help you. Try not to be an asshole. You're probably going to be an asshole. Yeah. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow us on all of our various social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Be sure to check out our Patreon page that we have now, and that you should go and check it out and help support.
But yeah, most importantly, you should help support, because I'm hungry.
Look at him, he's skinny.
He's a stick.
He's
save.
I eat all of it.
Malnutrition.
It goes this way. I eat most of it. BJ gets some, and then Dirk gets.
I get the scraps,
crumb.
man.
Yeah,
it's like human centipede.
No, it isn't.
No.
Anyway, yeah. So be sure to check out Patreon. Please support us so we can continue making our high quality Star Wars podcast videos.
And if you can't support us, find someone who can.
Yeah.
Yeah, share this shit.
That'd be great. Share it, put it out there, so that other people might experience the joy that is the BlueMilk podcast. But also, check out our sister podcasts at Real Film Nerds and The Mile High Show. The Mats will greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Mats, for existing.
And helping us in our time.
Oh, and we're also on Pornhub.
Oh, yeah. You should have checked that out, too.
Come to the dark side.